Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you today to our Life's Miracle Overview. My name is John Nikowski. I'm the CEO of Life's Miracle. Today we have with us our Chief Operating Officer, Jeff Benner. He's a certified traditional naturopath. And we also have with us Dr. Kirk Range. He is a biophysiologist, and he's also a naturopath. And he's also Vice President of Life's Miracle, in charge of our Scientific Advisory Board. Today they're going to cover our concept of the factors which we believe are crucial to health and why it's important to get good nutrition on a daily basis. So welcome, Dr. Benner.
Thank you, John. Glad to be here. Really, when you talk about nutrition, you were just mentioning how important good nutrition is. One of the most important things that you can do. There's so many products on the market today that have inferior ingredients. The products just aren't the quality that people need. And so we pride ourselves of having good quality, state-of-the-art raw materials and ingredients. We're talking about things like chromate. You don't see a lot of products in the market today, but yet it's the best form of chromium we have ever found. There were studies that have been conducted in many different universities. One in particular that comes to mind was one that increased the lifespan of animals by 20%. And these are the kind of things that we use when we look at the raw materials that we put in our products. And I know Dr. Range would also agree with me on that. L-arginine is another one. A lot of great university studies on L-arginine, but it's an amino acid that does a big job in keeping your blood freely moving throughout your body and keeps your blood vessels dilated and flexible. That's extremely important for your circulatory systems. These ingredients are absorbed and retained by the body so much greater, in fact, better than any ingredients or raw materials that we found. So I'm not going to go into all that, but I just wanted to share that with you to give you an idea of the kind of ingredients that we use. We believe that there are three key factors that work together to help you obtain good health. Now, the first factor that I wanted to talk about was the energy factor. The number one complaint by most people that they talk to their doctors or maybe their friends or relatives or whatever, but they're always saying, I feel so run down. I'm having a hard time keeping myself up. I just don't have the energy. By the time 3 o'clock in the afternoon gets there, it's like hitting a stone wall. They need some energy fast.
So what is the energy factor? Well, the energy factor is what enables your body to convert the nutrients you consume into fuel, glucose for the cells. And without the energy factor to complete the metabolic processes, then much of the fuel for the cells actually gets stored as fat instead, and that's obviously not a good thing. Just a couple of quick things. Understanding a little bit about energy, because energy is actually stored in the form of a molecule called ATP. I don't want to go into a lot of great detail on this. So for a muscle cell, it could be contracting. For an immune cell, it could be killing off pathogens. For one of the cells that make up your intestinal lining, it could be just helping to bring nutrients into and out of the bloodstream. All these require energy. And, of course, then you have the conversion of food to energy, which is driven along by enzymes. The micronutrients like vitamin D, which is extremely important today, and, of course, the ionic minerals act as coenzymes and cofactors in mitochondria. It helps the energy production to keep going. So you see what I'm talking about. So you have an energy parallel. Fire needs three components, basically. It needs what? It needs a fuel source, then it needs oxygen, and it needs a source of heat. So the creation of energy for the body requires the same three components, and that's the process we call the energy factor. The problem with most energy drinks, including coffee, and coffee is the number one energy drink out there. Obviously, it's the largest selling energy drink that's ever been is coffee. But how safe is it? They're basically just central nervous system stimulants. And I think people drink coffee in the morning more out of habit and kind of getting into their daily routine. But obviously, it does give them the jolt to help wake them up and get them going in the morning. But just like energy drinks, you get the big drop. And that's why people need more coffee or they need another energy drink, because they are a central nervous system stimulant. It's not like using a neurostimulant where you don't really have that problem. And I like to think of our product like Nitro 3 as more of a neurostimulant. But we put adrenal buffers in that product. But those adrenal buffers are very important for not giving you that crash. But remember, when people face health challenges, there's never just one factor you can look to as the cause. And this is why we talk about the three factors in our presentations. And there's never a single factor you can look to for reversing it. That's why, once again, another reason why we talk about the three factors. So let's talk about the energy factor a little bit as far as ionic minerals are concerned. What it will do is help to increase alkalinity in the body. We're actually trying to neutralize excess acids because acids tear down, obviously. When you put something in an acid, it eats it up, doesn't it? It disintegrates it. But alkalinity will actually help to build up. Why? Because it will actually increase your oxygen levels. When you lower the acidity in the body, you increase oxygen. And oxygen is energy. Oxygen is a very important part. And we talked about that just a second ago. It's an integral part of the energy factor. Thermogenics raise the metabolism, okay, and that is actually our heat source in the energy factor. That's energy, and that's part of the energy factor. So we found an Ayurvedic herb,
Caralluma symbiotum.
and besides the nutritional value in the particular herb, it does a great job of helping to curb appetite, as well as chá de bugre, which is a Brazilian herb. It's also great for appetite control. And that's one of the key problems that people have in losing weight.
Right now, what I'd like to do is bring on Dr. Kirk Grange.
Dr. Grange is someone that I am always thrilled to listen to. He was actually one of the people that helped me to get my life back when I had spinal stenosis quite a number of years back. But he laid the foundation in knowledge and understanding that really helped to form this company. So I am just proud to be associated with him. I'm proud to have him as my friend. So, Dr. Grange?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here and talk about especially one of my favorite parts, which is one of the three factors, and that's regeneration. You know, when you talk about regeneration, sometimes you think back to some of the things that you've heard, just general sayings. You know, when you get old and your cells stop working, you're very familiar with the comment of, you know, no pain, no gain, especially for athletes. Or, let's see, you have to tear down muscle tissue in order to build it up. Well, all of that is absolutely ridiculous because what we really want to do is we want to regenerate the body. We want to provide the body with the natural building blocks so that you can use them to build, replace, and repair your worn out and damaged tissue. And we do this by activating your body's stem cells and protecting the telomere replication. We want to have the body actually repair. The body has to do that itself. On the regeneration factor, it's the way that the body heals that we are mostly concerned with here. Like I said, we want to give the body what it needs to be able to take these building blocks and rebuild and replace what it is that has been either damaged by disease or damaged by activity or, quite frankly, just because you're getting old and you don't have the ability of your stem cells to get out there and repair things. Some people have heard about stem cells being injected into the body so that they can repair different parts of the body. Well, stem cells can do exactly that. But studies show that a very interesting ingredient that is in several things, but mostly in red grapes and some of the other berries, but studies show that resveratrol stimulates telomere maintenance, which I'll get to in a little bit, and it has no side effect whatsoever. And what it does is it creates the ability for each cell to repair itself. You can't just take resveratrol out of grapes or anything else and just grind them up and put them in a capsule or put them in a drink or put them in something else. You have to have the ability to take the specific parts out of it. Now, in the case of resveratrol, for instance, you can see on this a very interesting study and an abstract that has been written about how the actual ingredient part is taken out and then enhanced so that the body can absorb it. It's bioavailable, it's bioabsorbable, and now the body can actually get it to the cell, and the cell can use it to regenerate and help the body what's going to happen with it. Unfortunately, you can get less and less of it by food because of the way that we actually prepare or the way that we raise foods now. But the foods with the highest amount and the highest quality of resveratrol, one of those is Japanese knotweed and red grapeseed extract. The key word here is extract. You have to take the important parts out and put them in before the body can actually get to them if you don't have the right digestive enzymes. Besides resveratrol, there is another extremely important one that not only activates stem cells, but it is very important in repairing and replacing the body, and that's pterostilbene. it has been shown to have much greater bioactivity than any kind of a nutrient any place on the planet. What it does is it helps to protect these telomeres that I'm going to talk about in a minute. It protects them from actually being destroyed. And as you'll see, the way that they have to replicate themselves, if you are not protecting them, then you begin to lose a lot of your genetic material as you pass on to each cell. The key word here is oxidative. If you have oxygen that is not protected within the body, then it begins to tear down a lot of the biological processes to run everything within the body. Remember, we are a metabolic machine, and we have to have the materials within us to keep that body running successfully. So especially the resveratrol and the pterostilbenes act together, and they are more powerful together than either one of them are by themselves to fight a lot of the different conditions and diseases that are within the body. One of the main factors that we want to talk about is the way that we can regenerate the cells. Now, I talked a lot about stem cells, and stem cells are actually created in your bone. It's a natural process. If you go into stem cell therapy, they grow stem cells in a laboratory, petri dish or whatever, then they inject them. But you have plenty of stem cells. The problem is activating them. To activate the stem cells and release their regenerative properties, there are many studies that show that stem cells, if you take them or activate your own, can replace and rebuild any tissue and any organ within the body. For instance, the National Health Institute has said that there's 74 treatable diseases. The stem cells can work to overcome those or help the body overcome those. So it behooves us to make sure that we are getting the ingredients either in the supplements that we are taking or in the foods that we are eating that enable the activation of these stem cells. Now, what you're looking at here is an actual piece of a heart that is taken from two different rats that both had the same chronic heart disease. And one was giving stem cells, and after 3 months you can see that it's a viable, it's nice and red, it's a healthy heart, and the same problem with another rat, nothing happens. It's pretty much dead cell material. As you go along, you can see that there are some ingredients that are very, very important for stem cell activation and to give them more strength so that they can work better. Now, this is not just us saying this. Lots of studies will tell you the same thing. But the three most researched and the most potent stem cell activators in your body are spirulina, chlorella, and pterostilbene. And these are what are going to activate the stem cells, and the stem cells are the very thing that we need to talk about and have it work to build, replace, and repair the body. The stem cells are the regenerating factors. So what do they regenerate? Well, one of the things is what we call our telomeres. In every cell of our body, I don't care whether it's a liver cell or a skin cell or a brain cell or whatever, you have 23 pair of chromosomes. Now, each time that cell replicates itself, there are little tiny parts of DNA that get ripped apart. They just get lost. As the cell reproduces, it just kind of goes out in cyberspace someplace. That causes that chromosome to shorten because they have broken off. In fact, it's estimated that you start with many masses of these DNA particles in each chromosome, and each time that it breaks apart, you're going to lose little pieces of it. And so, at least 25 to 200 out of each chromosome. Now, that means that cell that has been created from the division of those chromosomes is not quite complete. It isn't as good as when you started out. So if you're 70 years old, you have shortened those chromosomes a great deal, and each one of those shortening patterns shortens your life periods. If you want to talk about a biological clock, you're kind of looking at it here. That's what we call old age, the sagging skin, the eyesight, the weakness of the muscles, and all of that goes along with it. What we need to do is to understand that as important as this is, it's no good to you unless you can get it to the cell. Dr. Jeff and I both talked about bioavailability. It's not GMO altered. God created it, you eat it, and your body has the ability to get the nutrients and those building blocks out of it that you need. But again, unfortunately, because of the society that we live in and the way that we have our foods and the GMO qualities that are going along with it, we now have to have help, and this is where the third part, the ion factor. You see, energy and regeneration is actually controlled by the ion factor, and one of the main ones that we use is a series of digestive enzymes that have ionic materials or ingredients in it that's designed to digest your food to its smallest component so that it can be absorbed and utilized by the body to get the optimum health results that we actually need. It also protects and conditions the digestive tract as we go along. We try to make sure that you have the ability to encompass a lot of different factors, not only just the important ones that we've talked about here, creating energy, reversing some of the degenerative process and diseases. And Dr. Jeff is now going to go into more of that ionic factor because, again, that is the basis for good health within anybody's regime.
You know, it's of course, Dr. Grange just did a tremendous job on the regeneration factor, and it really gives us an idea of the why. Why do they work in the body, and why do we need these raw materials, and why are they so important? Going right along with that is the ion factor, and this was the first factor that we actually talked about in the very beginning when we started Life's Miracle. The ion factor is the presence of negatively charged ions, and these negatively charged ions can neutralize free radicals. That has to do with nutrition and water. The catalytic molecules, that is also part of the ion factor, and that is produced by our air technology, but they can actually break down and affect pathogens as well as airborne pollutants and contaminants and aeroallergens. This is unprecedented research, but just wanted to understand exactly how powerful that ion factor is and what it does. Ionic nutrients are absorbed through the walls of the intestinal tract, and they don't have to go through the digestive process. And that's how you're able to absorb the nutrients so quickly and then be so effective and get right into your bloodstream. The ion factor helps increase circulation, lowers cellular resistivity, so increases nutrient absorption. And I know Dr. Grange has talked a lot about that in the past, and he'll tell you that's so important when you talk about bioavailability. Ionic nutrients are immediately available for use by the body, a very key factor there. Healthy negatively charged ions are the polar opposite of positively charged free radicals. But those positively charged free radicals initiate chain reactions of degeneration and deteriorating health, and they do that because they actually go into the body and steal an electron. They take an electron from a healthy cell, and then they leave it a weak cell, and it thus becomes a free radical. These free radicals have to be neutralized, and they're neutralized with electron donors that are actually put into our bodies by nature. Nature will provide electron donors. They help to neutralize free radicals, and most people know that free radicals cause degenerative disease today. Everything that you can do to help neutralize these free radicals just has to make you a healthier person. Balancing your body's pH levels. We actually have little pH test strips where you can test your saliva first thing in the morning before you eat or drink anything, and it kind of gives you just a basic understanding of where you might be acid-wise or alkaline-wise. You want your body to be above 7 or slightly alkaline is ideal. Now, when you're talking about urine pH, you're talking about something slightly acidic, because when the body detoxes at night, it has a tendency to dump toxins so that when you urinate first thing in the morning, you're going to find a stronger smell or color. That's because the body has dumped toxins. And at that point, the urine is slightly acidic, and that's how it should be. So if it's anything other than that, you may have a problem going on. But we really focus on balancing the pH levels in the body. We're not talking about making the body too alkaline, and we don't want the body to be too acidic. We're talking about achieving balance. So getting and keeping your body fluids alkaline is one of the most important things, especially you can do to remain healthy. That's actually a quote by Dr. Grange. And Dr. Grange and I were part of a group of people who brought the ionic mineral to the United States many, many years ago, back in 1996. So we have a many-year track record that we've actually recommended, educated people on, and utilized. The most important aspect is that the ion factor helps to get more nutrition, I should say, into the cells because it lowers cellular resistivity. There's so many nutritional supplements, mineral supplements that are out there that are inorganic, and I'll tell you, you just cannot absorb them. And they don't do a thing to lower cellular resistivity, so As far as that mineral is concerned, it's like hitting a brick wall. It just can't do anything there, and it cannot get into the cells. We feel like Life's Miracle, we have approached, if not all aspects of natural health. We feel like we can really help someone that wants to achieve wellness, that wants to have a better, healthier lifestyle. We feel like we can really help. Better health, helping others, and we feel like we're definitely a company that provides solutions.
Thank you, Dr. Benner. Let's just bring on Dr. Grange to give us a quick synopsis before we open it up for questions.
Thank you very much. What we try to do is take the arvolotic, the holistic, the naturopathic systems of health, and we try to take the best parts, the things that work the best for the general individual that are dealing with health and disease problems. And that's what we use to develop our theory of optimal health care.
I appreciate that very much, Dr. Grange. And I want to thank everyone for giving us the opportunity to share with you. And Dr. Benner and Dr. Grange did a great job of this overview of what we're accomplishing at Life's Miracle. But, of course, there is really so much more that can be said. Thank you again for this opportunity, and we look forward to the time when we can be there with you in person.